last time when we left off, I mean, I thought I got everything. I didn't even get everything last time, John, on Friday. Um, Turns out like there's an image where you can grab it and there's a phone number attached to the image.
Jesus
And
Christ.
and then if you call it, remember how I was joking that like you could, oh no, well, maybe we'll play backwards stuff now. Have people try play like playing things backwards. Turns out there's an audio message from this phone number that somebody were to call if they downloaded this file, and then you have to play the song, the file backwards in
Oh
order to
God.
spell out um what is it, like army code, like things. And anyway, so that was one other thing, and it led to a quote from Dante's Inferno, which we'll kind of get referenced. But today, we got a code flashed up on screen, and it took you to a WWE.com website, of course, featuring a painting of Samson and Delilah. Now, who are Samson and Delilah? This comes to us via Google. Delilah, in the Old Testament, the central figure of Samson's last love story, she was a Philistine who bribed to entrap Samson. This is, of course, Samson with the hair, coaxed him into revealing that the secret of his strength was his long hair, whereupon she took advantage of his confidence to betray him to his enemies. So the person who was responsible for getting Samson's hair cut. So if you hover above this image, you get to see what looks to be a URL. Now, if you just simply type this URL into online, you get nothing. It's an unknown, and that's because it's only half of a URL. The second half of this URL, somebody needs to download on their phone, and somehow credit to It's Wrestle World on Twitter, who says when you download the image onto your mobile phone, it saves as the second half, revealing the second half of the URL. Okay, John?
Yeah,
Of course, it's obvious. Typing the full URL into your browser brings up this image. Now, this image is a continuation of our first image. It is Samson destroying the temple. He was captured, blinded, and enslaved by the Philistines. But in the end, God granted Samson his revenge. Through the return of his old strength, he demolished the great Philistine temple of the god Dagon at Gaza, destroying his captors and himself. Okay, so this is Samson in a fit of rage, destroying everything, including himself. So that's all that. But now let's get back to this, okay? Because the URL of this particular image itself, I believe, revealed what to be coordinates that when you punch in take us to the Wells Fargo Center, site of course, Extreme Rules. Correct. This Saturday. So that is the first thing. Going back to this image, the second image, of course, with the temple, you see a number down below here, 69012092580022. So a simple Google of that brings to us the barcode of White Rabbit candy. This is a Chinese candy. Well, actually, in this case, it seems to be a milk variation, but it's a Chinese candy that I actually grew up on, called White Rabbit candy. And I mean, just a bit of a, I guess, reference to another thing that's called White Rabbit. So there's that. Further on this site from www.com, scrolling through the black portion of this website reveals a number of these sort of coded, letters. And it's up to you, John, to not just decipher it, but to figure out what language it even is. And of course, the internet was very quick to point out that it's the Yacht-Ja alphabet from the movie Predator.
I didn't want to spoil it, but I mean, come on.
It's obvious.
Put two and two together, fans.
Yeah, it's the Yacht-Ja alphabet from the movie Predator, of course. Yeah.
If I can just interject for a second.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
The idea of, if Bray Wyatt is heavily involved in the creation of this, pitching this idea to a prior regime, and I would imagine, yeah, that sounds great. You're going to be wrestling Braun Strowman underwater. That's where we're going to go with this. I mean, could you come up? And you know what? I don't know if I would have been as receptive to someone pitching this concept to me, that I would have been lost along the way too.
I have to imagine there was some degree of creative control that he demanded before answering any sort of phone call. Like the guy is not coming back unless he was assured that what had happened the last time was
How many phone
not
calls
going to
before
happen.
you get to the Yacha language that are you're introducing? Like that's not the first pitch phone call. That's, hey, Paul, just while we're on a roll here, how about this alternate language?
I'm of the opinion that like they just give Bray and whoever's working with him on these videos the airtime and the web space to just, here it is. You do whatever you want with it. I'm willing to bet like somebody like Triple H, I don't even know if he would know that it went this deep. Okay. I think they have that level of, I would hope that they have that level of trust, because like there's nothing on this show that tells me that the same people responsible for making WWE Raw even right now is making this. Like these are the same people that are making the Dexter Loomis Miz story. Okay. Like they're not coming up with the Yelcha predator language to try to spell something. Okay, so back to this. So when you decode this particular message in Yautja language from Predator, what do you get? This comes to us from Toxic Nova 98 on Reddit, as many other people have discovered. The text translates to, before me, things created were none, save things. Eternal and eternal I endure. I'll all hope abandon, ye who enter here, by Dante Alighieri from Inferno. So yet another quote from Dante's Inferno, which was the message that people decoded, or a message from Dante people decoded on
More
Friday.
House of Black teases.
Why?
It's their
Because of the
finisher.
move. Oh, okay. Well, they love dark shit. The last thing that people will find, there's more, John, to this, because the last thing people will find when they scroll down from today's teaser is...
That's their goal. Let's kill the third hour. Let's just send as many people off to do homework by the end of hour 2.
Catching up on the rest of the show was a challenge.
I don't know how you did
to be
this.
A challenge. It's very difficult. Anyway, scrolling down further reveals this, John. Do you know what this is?
I see a sailboat, don't you?
Exactly. Yes. It is a magic eye puzzle. Okay. There are people alive right now who have no idea, who have never been through the phenomenon.
These were all the rage.
Known as magic eye.
I was never good at these. I always had to lie and be, yeah, I see that. Of course it's a bicycle.
And that's what we're all doing today, because somehow, some way, people were able to decipher this out of that, John.
What the
MTA4M JI equals. Okay.
Is this the Yacha language?
This is something else. This is
it's a different language.
This is a
different code.
Yeah, Internet Smart Mark.
What about the Morse
language.
code from a few weeks ago?
We
no
solved
Morse
that.
code. Okay.
No Morse code today. Anyway, so people doing the magic eye were able to identify MTA4MJI equals. People who know the base 64 coding language know that this is part of that. So what happens when you decode MTA4MJI equal sign into base 64 format? You get the number 10822, which of course can be interpreted as October 8th, 2022. The date of Extreme Rules.
It could be.
Could be. Well, what else could it be, John? What do you think? What
Ecclesiastes would say that that particular number,
Ecclesiastes,
if you reverse them all, probably equals in letter form. Could probably spell out something that if you do backwards in a mirror, would probably give away the answer. I will just say that at the end of all of this, if you don't think WWE is tracking all of your information, I mean, you're just crazy because they've got everything. You by the balls.
Yeah. They know my blood type. They know everything. A couple more things here before I get out of here, because I know people will comment on it. But the URL itself, I believe, is in binary today from the QR code, and the binary translates to Gacy, Gacy. And that, of course, could be a reference to NXT's Joe Gacy, or I think more likely John Wayne Gacy. Just a bit of a maybe way to throw us off here. And then, of course, we have to look into the source code, as we always do now with these Bray Wyatt things. Efficient 4696. At the time of us doing this, I have not seen an answer.
This is the only way that we're going to use the word efficient for these codes.
That is correct. Yeah, efficient 4696. That's one I don't think the internet has cracked yet. So by the time maybe you're listening to this, maybe that answer's out there. But leave a comment below and let us know if you know it.
Bravo. That was fantastic.
I mean, listen, I think this is coming to a head on Saturday.
I think it needs to. I think we've gone as deep as we could. That was Way's explanation, thank God, because my recap was QR code appears on the screen.
Ultimately, what we're doing is just drink more drink your Ovaltine. This is we're deciphering a commercial for the next thing, and I have a feeling I don't know if it continues that much further beyond.
Let's say Saturday is the reveal. This comes to a head. It's probably the time to do it. What do you learn from this buildup, and what can be applied for the future? Like, do you think that largely this has been successful? It certainly pulled a number last Friday. I think you have to give this credit for that one number. But in terms, like, is this too deep, or do you feel that just this is working for a small audience, that it's cool if they're following it and people can through Reddit and Twitter figure it and piece it along too?
Something of this particular level is catering, I would say, to a very small audience, or at least a small enough audience that would care to jump through all these hoops. However, it tells me that the average, I think, willingness to look deeper into what's in your wrestling content, that capacity is way bigger than I think any wrestling producer has thought. So anybody afraid of adding subtlety, or I don't know, information calling back to things that have existed longer than 6 months' time in your history, you throw all that out the window, because there's this big, like, your audience is smart. They're as smart as, or at least, like, they're as interested and as willing to do the work as people that study frame by frame all these Marvel things, or any other, Easter egg hunting type of device. So it tells me that, like, I think Triple H, I know to me, Triple H probably isn't responsible for these particular videos. He might have a hand in it, but I also feel like this is the type of online sort of viral marketing that I think he's very much interested in doing. It's stuff that is catering to a younger audience. It's generating great online buzz. And just not even this, but like the stuff, like playing Jefferson Airplane, at a house show to an empty arena, things like that. I mean, all that stuff I think has been wonderful, and it's been fun. I wouldn't put this much time into it if it wasn't fun, even though it's a commercial.
Yeah, and I would say this isn't going to be for everyone, but at the same time, I don't feel it's like isolating people either. Like, I'm not going to dig into all of this, but if this leads to a big return on Saturday, you can get into it just on that level of a character returning, and then the stories begin with his return. This is almost like a bonus. You don't have to dig into this. If you do, though, there's something there for you. I mentioned this last week, I would really love if at the end of all of this, there's some kind of like YouTube video that sort of ties a lot of the clues together. Like you see it in its totality, that it rewards the people that went to all these lengths and maybe missed some things along the way, that there was some coherent narrative to this all these clues. They weren't just random, like, going on a scavenger hunt, but there is some connection to it that all ties in.
Yeah, it demands like incredible involvement from people like us, John, who like do this for a living. And so often I think wrestling has become so predictable in its creation, like we're going to be talking about 4 distraction finishes in a row coming up, John. So let us have this little moment where that, at least challenges us a bit to learn about the Yelcha language, or like,
it's a lesson that you can certainly go further with things like this. This is the extreme side of things, but we're also coming from a place where we're not going to reference something that happened 2 months ago on TV because the idea that fans don't remember that. There is a happy medium that you can certainly go a lot deeper, and you have your fans that will dig that kind of thing, and others that won't. But I don't think they're necessarily on the outside lost either by not engaging in this type of promotion.
Agreed.